So I just got back from watching. Can you guess? Can you guess? Does this give it away? Oh wait, maybe this gives it away. That's right, Captain America: Brave New World. And I gotta tell you, I fucking loved it. Before I go any further, spoilers are ahead, so beware. Now, with that said, was it a perfect film? No. And quite frankly, a lot of these movies aren't perfect, but it was a step in the right direction for me. I know it's getting a lot of hate. From different reviewers, but I feel like these reviewers are being analytical or just a little too analytical and anal, or honestly, they just ride the DC dick. Because this actually was a very enjoyable film. Let's start off with the highlights. I really enjoyed Anthony Mackie's Sam as Cap. He embodied everything that Cap was. I could feel the Cap vibes. Now, personally, would I have preferred Bucky? Yes, I've always said that, but that's only because I feel they both have interesting roads on what they can represent with Cap. For me, with Bucky, it was a road of redemption, and I'm just more keen on the storyline where Bucky picks up the shield in the comics, and then Sam picks it up. That's kind of what I would have liked to see, but granted, that's my only biasness. But Anthony Mackie did awesome. Loved it, and again, gave me all the Cap vibes. It really, speaking of vibes, like it reeked in good ways of like Civil War, that political aspect, the drama that made that movie awesome. So I really enjoyed the overall look and vibes that it presented. Cap and Falcon's rapport, bringing Danny Ramirez as Joaquin, their rapport was awesome. The one thing about Mackie is that he's always seems great at playing in a partnership. I don't want to say buddy role, but buddy role, like with somebody else. With him and Sebastian, it was priceless, right? With him and Chris Evans, again, worked phenomenal. And it's just that aspect that really works for this film. They do so well together. And also in bringing in Harrison Ford, he encompassed what Ross was about from the beginning to the end. Like you just felt it. He really dove into the role. It is a great and perfect fit, I think, to replace. I really enjoyed them bringing in the leader, finally kind of bringing back that connection. He was really menacing. You could really see how he used his intelligence to plot and just put all this together over the course of many, many years, and that's what the leader's supposed to be. I also like the look. I like that they didn't go with the traditional huge cranium, but instead like a warped brain exposed. It was creepier. It made a lot more sense for me for the MCU. It wasn't as kid friendly, and I dug it. I dug that they went in this route versus the oversized Egghead, because that's a little campish, cartoonish, more than I probably would have wanted to see on live action. But overall, I really dug the vibes, how a formidable foe he can and will be in the future. Another plus was the reshoots. I know some of the reshoots were kind of hold up, and you can see where it was a great addition and where it didn't. For me, a big plus was switching up the Serpent Society from being these costumed villains from the original shoots and turning it into a mercenary group led by Giancarlo. And of course, some of his scenes were awkward and that you can tell it was fit in, but it did make more sense to what this storyline was going and pushing away from the more comic-y look. And in this case, I feel like that's what we should have, that I guess is the right decision. So yeah, great storyline, great addition to the actors. The action scenes is kind of where I'm going to go on the negative side and kind of the downsides of this. Action scenes to me were kind of mid. You saw a lot of decent scenes, but what really threw me off was you've got a Cap with no soldier serum doing some extraordinary things and enduring some hella wounds and just walking it off. And I know there should be a realm of disbelief here, but it just seemed excessive to be stabbed 3 times and have a hatchet through you and still walk it off without some kind of edge to it. And it's those kind of moments that kind of threw me off. Also, him plowing through a shit ton of soldiers. Like, you're a badass in the Air Force, but like to this extent, and even with the training he received, it just seemed like a bit much without the serum. And a lot of the hand-to-hand scenes were actually pretty good. They weren't bad. I know it's been getting a lot more shit, but that's where I'm drawing the line with the action. I just feel like that the disbelief was there, but the rest of the action scenes were great in my opinion. from the hand-to-hand to the flight scenarios to our final fight with the Red Hulk and Cap. Like, could that one have been a little longer? Yeah, but it was still good. Speaking of Hulks, this was clearly a sequel to The Incredible Hulk from, 16 years ago. And it like, the downside to that is, I know in my head it doesn't work as a direct sequel. Like, it would be hard to do this with just Bruce. The way this should have worked, in my opinion, would have been Sam working with Bruce, especially once we found out that Gamma was a factor. The fact that we never get Bruce any mention, any connection, like, it's really hard to believe that he would not have brought Bruce into this, knowing we've got a lot of Gamma going on. And I feel like that was a huge misstep. Like, Venom without Spider-Man, like, it doesn't make any sense why you wouldn't do this. Honestly, I feel like that, it was great for them to kind of tie these loose ends. Bringing back Betty was awesome. That was kind of a tearjerker. The leader, as I mentioned, Red Hulk looked badass, and honestly looked probably the most formidable any Hulks look in the MCU since Incredible Hulk. This is as close to peak Hulk, which for me is the Incredible Hulk, as it gets. He looked fucking great. I just wish we'd have spent more time with him. I know the budget was there and they had the reshoots, but they could have done more with the Red Hulk versus just those last 6 or 7 minutes. And finally, I just feel like this movie could have had a lot more weight to the MCU than it did. We had finally touched on the Celestial, we ranted about Adamantium, but where's the payoff for that? I feel like the cameo or some other Easter egg should have been Adamantium with Weapon X, Adamantium here. They bring up the name and the element, but we don't see it pay off through this movie, nor do we really see it lead into the future of the MCU, aside from the request to build the Avengers from Ross. Like, you see that towards the end that Sam's going to start, taking those steps to rebuild the Avengers. And then we have our one post-credit scene, which was kind of all right. The leader at this point is on the raft, and he is aware of the multiverse coming for them. And I feel with as much weight as it had, he should have dropped the name Doom in some form. Doom is coming for you. Doom, blah, blah, blah. But it was more general than that. And I feel like, again, they could have been more direct with that instead of there's just impending doom. But again, with that said, I still love the movie. I still think this is a step in the right direction for the MCU. It goes back to a lot of what we're used to. It just needs a little bit more. Like, it needs to get back on that phase 3 level. We get so close and yet so far. I personally give it a 7.5 out of 10. Let me know what you thought once you've seen it down below, of course. And as always, appreciate you.